When we think of Sanatan Dharma today, a very specific picture comes to mind. We envision massive stone temples, intricate idol worship, rigid social categories, and a deeply defined religious identity. But if you traveled back 5,000 years in time, you would not find a single one of those temples. You wouldn't see a single idol, and you certainly wouldn't hear anyone use the word Hindu. How did an ancient formless philosophy evolve into the highly structured, physically complex religion practiced by over 1 billion people today? To find the actual meaning of the word Sanatan, we have to bypass thousands of years of accumulated rituals and travel back to the civilization where the concept was born. 5 millennia ago, in the Indus Valley, daily life was completely tethered to nature. Human survival depended entirely on agriculture, the flow of rivers, and the changing of the seasons. Early humans observed a predictable cycle. The sun reliably rose, rain nourished the crops, and fire cooked their food. They deduced that the universe operates on eternal, unchanging laws that no human created. They called this eternal truth Sanatan, that which has no beginning and no end. This is a page from the Rig Veda, the earliest written record of these observations, codified roughly 4,000 years ago. When you read this text, you won't find human-like gods with families or backstories. Instead, it contains hymns praising pure cosmic forces like Agni for fire and Varun for water. The spiritual practice of this era was strictly elemental. People gathered around highly precise fire pits to perform yajnas, sacrifices where offerings were made directly into the flames, while chanting specific sonic vibrations known as mantras. In its original state, Sanatan was an abstract study of cosmic energy. But over the centuries, maintaining that strict formless discipline became incredibly complicated. By roughly 1200 BCE, the social structure had shifted. The fire rituals had become so complex, expensive, and time-consuming that they were exclusively controlled by kings and the educated Brahmin class. An ordinary farmer or laborer simply didn't have the time or resources to participate. They were entirely cut off from the complex philosophy of a formless universal energy. Sages recognized this gap. To translate abstract philosophy into something accessible for the masses, they wrote the Puranas. These texts took the concept of Brahman, the formless supreme energy, and gave it a story. That single universal truth was personified into 3 distinct roles to make it easier to grasp. Brahma as the creator, Vishnu as the preserver, and Shiva as the destroyer. Humans have a deep psychological need for a relatable protector. People wanted a face to talk to, someone to pray to in times of crisis. This psychological need directly birthed the practice of creating physical idols and eventually temples. This marked a distinct turning point. An internal philosophy of cosmic observation was now an external, organized religion. Fast forward a few centuries, and this new system hardened. Strict caste identities dictated who could worship where, and performing the correct physical rituals took priority over understanding the actual philosophy. This rigidity triggered massive pushback. By the 15th century, the Bhakti movement swept across India. Saints like Kabir and Mirabai openly rejected the necessity of priests and temples, arguing that pure internal devotion was the only requirement for spiritual connection. This return to the internal mind is best represented by Vedanta, the ultimate philosophical peak of the ancient texts. Vedanta entirely dismisses physical rituals, social identities, and historical beliefs. Vedanta argues a very specific point. The human mind is restless. It is constantly seeking satisfaction in temporary, time-bound things like wealth, status, or even religious traditions. True Sanatan, according to this philosophy, is not a list of rules to obey. It is a psychological framework designed to free the mind from its own endless cycles of dissatisfaction. So where does the word Hindu fit into all of this? The term actually originated as a geographical label used by ancient Persians to describe the people living near the Indus River. Over centuries, foreign empires adopted this regional label, and the eternal internal philosophy of Sanatan was packaged into the historical geographical identity of Hinduism. Today, a 5,000-year legacy of seeking ultimate truth is often reduced to bitter arguments over political identities, historical grievances, and external symbols. The historical record shows us that the methods of connecting with the truth, from formless fire rituals to epic storytelling to temple worship, were always meant to adapt to the needs of the era. The constant throughout those 5,000 years is the search itself. The real journey of Sanatan Dharma does not happen out there, in a courtyard or a strict set of rules. It happens quietly inside a mind, striving to understand itself.